You step out of a gray apartment building with your lunch bag in one hand and your car keys in the other. Two officers are waiting near the curb. One points to your work boots and asks, "Where do you work?" It sounds like small talk. It is not. That answer can hand over your job site, your routine, your coworkers, and a trail they can use later. The danger is answering before you draw a line. So what should come out of your mouth before you answer anything? I am a lawyer, and this is general legal education, not advice for your specific case. But by the end of this section, you will know the phrase to use before answering, what it protects, and the mistakes that can undo it. The first reframe is simple. This is not a conversation. It is a rights moment. Polite does not mean helpful. Calm does not mean compliant. You can be respectful and still refuse to provide information. So before you give a workplace, a schedule, or a supervisor's name, you slow the moment down and make the legal boundary clear. We will cover the phrase, why work questions matter, when questioning is voluntary, and what not to say next. The exact phrase is short, but every word in it is doing work. Say this first. Am I free to leave? I want to remain silent and speak with a lawyer before answering questions. That is the line. Not, I work down the street. Not, I am just helping my cousin. Not, I do not know anything. First, you ask if you are free to leave. That question forces the encounter into a clearer lane. If it is voluntary, you are asking whether you can end it. If it is not voluntary, you are helping create a record that this was a detention, not a casual chat. Then you invoke two rights plainly. Silence. Lawyer, do not bury it in a speech. Do not debate immigration law on the sidewalk. Do not explain why the question is unfair. Say the sentence calmly, then stop talking. And physically, stay steady. No arguing, no running, no pushing past anyone. Your goal is to slow the moment down, not escalate it. Because the safest answer to, where do you work, is not a workplace. It is a boundary. But why does a question about work deserve that level of caution? Because work is not just a place. A workplace answer can hand over a map of your life, the address, the shift, the manager's name, the entrance you use, the bus stop nearby, the coworkers who see you every morning. And once that door opens, the next questions get sharper. When did you start there? How are you paid? Who hired you? Do they keep copies of your documents? Does anyone else there have the same situation? Now the conversation is not about directions. It is about records, witnesses, and a timeline. That is why a nervous explanation can do damage. You might say one thing in the parking lot, another thing later in paperwork, and suddenly the inconsistency becomes the issue. A calm boundary keeps the facts from spilling out before you understand what is happening. Not because you are hiding something, because statements to officers can be used later, and casual answers do not stay casual for long. The next question is whether you even have to stay there and keep listening. So the next sentence matters. If an officer is asking questions, do not guess whether you are allowed to walk away. Ask it plainly. Am I free to leave? Then stop talking. If the answer is yes, you do not need to explain, argue, or fill the silence. You can say, I am going to leave now, and calmly leave. Not fast, not dramatic, just leave. If the answer is no, the situation is changed. Now you treat it like a detention. You say, I wish to remain silent. I want to speak with a lawyer. And then you repeat that if the questions continue. The point is not to win a debate on the sidewalk. The point is to make the encounter clear. Voluntary conversation has one set of risks. Detention has another. Blurring them is where people get trapped, because they keep answering as if politeness is protection. It is not. Slowing the moment down gives your rights something to attach to. But there is one thing that silence does not protect: lying. Lying is the mistake that makes everything worse. If ICE asks, where do you work? Do not invent a job. Do not give a friend's company. Do not say you are unemployed if that is not true, just because it feels safer in the moment. And never hand over papers that are fake, borrowed, expired in someone else's name, or altered to make the question go away. That answer may buy you 10 seconds. It can also create a separate problem, because now the issue is not only what ICE was asking about. Now there may be a false statement, a false document, a story that agents can compare against records, employers, pay stubs, cameras, and other people's answers. Silence can feel suspicious. It can feel rude. It can feel like you are making the officer angry. But silence is not a fake fact. The safer line is simple. I wish to remain silent. I want to speak with a lawyer. Then stop. You are not talking your way out. You are preventing the conversation from becoming evidence. And if the encounter happens at the workplace itself, the rules get even more specific. At work, the first line is not the parking lot. It is the door, a restaurant dining room, a store aisle, a front lobby. Those may be public spaces, but the kitchen, the stockroom, the employee office, the factory floor behind a locked gate, those are different. That matters because entry into non-public areas often depends on consent or a real judicial warrant signed by a judge. Not every paper with an eagle on it is that. An ICE administrative warrant is not the same thing as a judge's warrant. Employers need to know the difference before opening private areas or handing over records. But as a worker, your job is simpler. Do not run through the back. Do not argue about the warrant. Do not start explaining your schedule, your manager, your shift, or who else works there. Say, I wish to remain silent. I want to speak with a lawyer. Then pause. Now zoom out. The real trap is not the question. It is the speed of the moment. Panic makes a simple question feel like a test you have to pass. It is not. When someone with a badge asks, "Where do you work?" your brain wants to search for the safest fact, the address, the shift, the supervisor's name. But facts can become a map. The goal is not to sound innocent. The goal is to stop feeding the moment. Slow hands, slow voice, one boundary, then silence. You do not have to win the encounter verbally. You have to avoid making it worse. So let's close the loop with the exact answer and what to do immediately after. The answer is, am I free to leave? I want to remain silent and speak with a lawyer before answering questions. Say it before you give a workplace, a schedule, or a name. Do not lie. Do not guess. Do not sign what you do not understand. And do not fill the silence with extra details. Save that phrase in your phone today. Share it with family or coworkers. Then ask a qualified immigration attorney about your situation. Comment with the rights question you want next: warrants, home visits, or workplace raids. Thank you for watching.